Now, joining me to discuss this via Skype from London is Otumba Olabode Oseni. He is a media consultant, political and public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Good morning. Now, what are your thoughts on this development so far?
The situation on ground begs for understanding of good governance and a structured governance. What we are seeing shows clearly that government is not in control of governance. Government is not doing what it's supposed to have been doing. Cases like these should normally not degenerate to a point where we are now struggling to see and know when a pressure group or a group of people or a group agitating for 1, 2, 3 things should be prescribed or not to be prescribed. I think it's make a little bit ridiculous of us the way we govern. And I'm sorry, this is the truth. Might not go down well with some people in the authority, but this is the truth. Truth need to be told, because I live in the West. I live in a country where at least we have this freedom of expressing what we feel or what we think about things that are happening in the country. Now, I don't know why government is finding it difficult to get the necessary institution or organization within the government to understand that here we have a group of people or someone who is not only agitating but is being belligerent, is unnecessarily calling for war, drumming the war.
All right, Mr. Oseni, can the federal government ask the UK now to ban Radio Biafra from broadcasting from its territory? Is that a possibility?
This is where also we probably must have a clear-cut definition of our foreign policy, and also a clear-cut of how we interact, how we interface with other countries of the world. We do not define all this area. Now, to go straight to your question, it might be very difficult because here is a country where you have, within London, I'm also a radio broadcaster. I've been doing it for years. There are almost about 18 or 20,000 radio stations. The only time government will react is if they find that a particular station is broadcasting something anti-government. There's no doubt about it that there are double standards in the West. You know, they might be taking advantage of a crack or ineptitudeness of governance in Africa. So it might be very difficult for Nigeria to pick up the phone and say to UK, ban ABCD radio. I represent Majestic FM for years, and we talk a lot of things on our radio. So it might be very difficult for once, unless otherwise we have a clear-cut foreign policy that is dedicated, that the government should know that at least this is what we want, and this is not. We are yet to show government in the UK and Africa, and France and some other country, how well organized, how well are we ruling ourselves. These are issues.
All right, now let's talk about the issue of funding now. We understand that most of the funding comes from France. What do you relate that to?
I'm very happy to hear that France, as a country and also as a government, openly denied that they are funding any. Let me be specific. IPOB. Mm-hmm. So that's a good news. But again, they need to do more, and we also need to be very cautious here, because if you ask the government of France to put a blank total ban on transaction of ABCD things, it might affect the genuine transaction of people who are sending money here and there. But it also needs to be said that the individual that contributes to funding of organizations like IPOB, Boko Haram, and so on and so forth, is even more than the one that the government do send to them, because officially there's no responsible government that will agree to want to fund any organization that is terrorist linked or that is being unnecessarily anti-government of their country. So France, UK probably will not do that. I think they are more responsible than that. But the problem we're having here is we have individual donors that send donations to these people. And also, we also need to remember that Boko Haram has been going on for years. They are being funded. Somehow, they are being funded by either individual or by some funny method of giving them money to survive.
All right, let's stay with IPOB now. The leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has challenged the court order prescribing his group as a terrorist organization. What are your thoughts on that? Simple.
Nnamdi Kanu has the right to challenge any court decision, and he should have his day. He should be represented in the court of law. And that's, again, I want to say this, that it's now going to be a case of a government that knows exactly what they are doing, that we're going to be properly represented, because court in most cases are going to be evidence-based. If the federal government of Nigeria is represented by kind of lawyers that are going to go there and just talk and unable to prove their case beyond reasonable doubt, that here we are dealing with an organization that is belligerent, that is anti-government, that is anti-progressive, and so on and so forth. Yeah, they must prove that by evidence. So then it's going to be another failure on behalf of the government.
Otumba Olabode Oseni, media consultant and political public affairs analyst, many thanks for your thoughts.
Thank you very much for having me.